Hey, I don't usually do this, but like and subscribe, please. 1 year ago, we were graced with the first ever Big Run, an event in which a normal PvP stage is turned into a Salmon Run stage. Since then, we've had 4 more Big Runs, all with varying levels of quality, and today I will be ranking all of the stages. My only rule is that this is my video and everything is my opinion. And while bonus points will be given to extra things added in the Big Run like new weapons and King Salmonoids, they will not be the main focus. However, for a video like this, I think I'm going to need the help of someone. Someone with an inhumanly high number of hours on Salmon Run.
Seriously? That's how you're gonna introduce me? Not like by the fact I got top 1% in Big Run, or like my multiple gold stage badges, or my—
Yeah, keep gloating, addict. Cara here is a skilled overfisher, meaning that she's a lot more knowledgeable than I am in regards to some of these stages. She will be providing a second opinion on some of these stages after I give mine. Congrats, Cara, your overfishing is finally helping you.
Anaki, I can taste your salt from here. Are you still pissed you haven't won a gold trophy yet?
Let's just start the video.
That is one big pile of shit.
Okay, let's not waste time here. You know what the worst one is. I mean, my god, bro. Undertow Spillway is just horrible. Like, genuinely a pain. Even before the stage came out, I was already worried about how they could possibly make a stage like this work in Big Run. My expectations were already low, but holy fuck, it's even worse than I could have ever imagined. The hydrate variant of the stage is decent, I guess. I still prefer almost any other hydrate variant from other stages. I mean, it's better than hydrate variant on Salmon Run, I'll give it that. However, then we get to the mid-tide variant, and this is where the problems start rearing their ugly head like that red-faced thing from Insidious. First of all, the terrain sucks. Undertow has too many edges, too many cutoff points that make traversal a pain. Take a look at stages like Sockeye Station and Gunfish and Hydrant. Notice how, bearing a few exceptions, they are mostly flat and wide, which allows for better maneuverability. But Undertow Spillway has so many ledges and obstacles that getting around a sticky situation can be impossible at points. Second of all, unankable walls. It's a problem in normal Undertow, and it's even worse over here since it leads back to the first point of lacking maneuverability. The Salmonoid spawning areas are also too close to the egg basket, meaning that getting overwhelmed is an absolution, which is not helped by the lack of space on the damn stage. And finally, the egg basket's placement is so weird. It's placed behind the structure. I compare the egg basket to a basketball hoop. Basketball hoops are often placed in the center of the court, and most Salmon Run stages apply this logic in the stages. But the problem with Undertow is that the map is so weirdly designed that it doesn't really feel like an established good center point for the basket to be. But trust me when I say I would play on the mid-tide variant 100 times before I even consider going down to the hell pit known as low tide. Good God, low tide is a travesty. Everything I said about the mid-tide variant is here. Shitty terrain? Check. Unankable walls? Check. Salmonoid spawns? Well, instead of being too close to each other, they're now way too far apart from each other. Meaning that if you and your team are too preoccupied on one side, the Salmonoids have probably already taken over the other side. But the absolute worst thing about this stage is this stupid trapezium. This stupid thing just makes everything a burden. Evading enemies, delivering eggs, it's all just obnoxious and makes playing this stage less fun than usual. I can't even give this stage any bonus points, because as of Chill Season 2023, this is the only Big Run besides the first one that had absolutely nothing new. No new boss, no new weapon. Hell, the trophy isn't even that cool, compared to the legendary looking Ouroboros one or the Chohazuna one. Need I really say any more? Undertow Spillway is the prime example of what not to do when making a big run stage. And I'll say this right now. There isn't any other big run stage that even comes close to this abomination. The rest of the stages from this point are at least mid, but this one is awful.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
Oh, jeez. What do you think, Cara?
Yeah, this one sucks. I think the biggest problem with it is just the lack of space. Undertow by design just isn't a good big run map because it's not designed for salmonids. As Anaki said, the lack of inkable walls are one of the biggest problems with this map, but it plays into a larger fault I think it has, which is the lack of space. Especially on low tide, where if you're caught on either side of the basket and a couple of steel eels are driving past, there are very few spaces to run to if you're even lucky to run from. Without drastic changes to this map, there isn't really a simple solution that could have brought this map up from being a very low tier map. So hopefully, this is the lowest one we'll get in terms of big run.
Anyways, yeah, like I already said, fuck this stage.
What you currently have in your mouth is art!
Ink Blot Art Academy is fine for the most part. The terrain is pretty good and mostly flat. It's got a decent amount of climbable walls, so it's already leagues better than Undertow. The high tide variant is once again fine. It can be a little cramped, but it's okay. Same thing with the mid tide, although it can be very easy to get overwhelmed due to how close the spawning locations are to the basket. And unfortunately, this problem is heightened further by the low tide variant, which is easily the worst part of this stage. The basket is so close to the salmon spawning locations that getting overwhelmed is basically guaranteed unless you're riding with some incredibly skilled players. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, but isn't it a good thing to have salmonoids near the basket? If you're running with a well-coordinated team, sure. But if you're running with a team of randoms, you're going to have a bad time, pal. I honestly don't have much else to really say about Inkblot, so... Cara?
Personally, I think the bigger problem with this map was the normal tide waves. I'm not the biggest fan of the basket's position on this wave, especially with how cramped the paths were, and the mid part of this map felt like a gamble half the time if it was too crowded. Especially when having to travel to the opposite end of the map to deal with statics like flyfish or stringers, it definitely felt like the mid part could easily get overrun and you would lose a couple of players along the way. There was definitely a lot of cramped areas on this map in all three waves, but as Anaki said, this was definitely the calm before the storm with Undertow. What really helped this map in my opinion was the Grizzcobrella. Whilst not being the strongest of weapons, it certainly helped with ink on the ground. So whilst there was a lot of tricky situations you could easily find yourself in, at least there was a decent path to swim back to.
Anyways, yeah, Inkblot Art Academy is not terrible, but not impressive. Oh, and bonus points for the Horrorboros and Horrorboros trophy. Very cool.
Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
From this point onwards, all the stages are at the very least good. These are all stages that I would absolutely love to replay. Starting off with the most recent one as of Chill Season 2023, Barnacle and Dime. When I saw this stage in the trailer, I was genuinely really scared because Barnacle was already a stage that I despise for reasons stated in this video. And honestly, I kind of thought that was going to be even worse than Undertow. Luckily, I was wrong. Barnacle and Dime is good. First of all, the stage is wide and mostly flat, meaning that maneuverability is at its best tier. The salmonoid spawning locations are also at the Goldilocks zone, close but not too close, far but not too far, just right. And overall, it just gets it right. There's a bunch of areas to hide out when things get difficult. Joe Mormor made his debut here, and we even got the possibility of getting any Grizzco weapon, which are all really fun to use. Oh, and in case you want to know, here's my ranking of all the Grizzco weapons. So, what's my issue with the stage? Well, the stage design. While it's spacious, it's also kind of boring, I guess. I really don't know any other way to describe it. There's just nothing special about the design of this stage. Also, the low tide variant isn't that good. Oh, wait a minute. I'm starting to notice a pattern over here. Low tide variant sucks, low tide variant sucks, low tide variant sucks. Man, what the f? Anyways, the issue with this low tide variant is that the Salmonids are kind of forced into a choke point around the middle section, which can lead to the issue of there being way too many salmon in one area. This is the main reason why Salmon Run stages often have different spawning areas, usually 3. It stops a cluster of salmonids coming from one area, which would basically make playing the game impossible, because you can't really collect eggs if 10,000 more salmonids are coming in the same direction. While Low Tide Barnacle Dime does have multiple different spawning locations, they all kind of bleed together, and it just creates a scrambled mess. Also, what's with the trophy for this big run? Why is it an egg? Joe is right there. Also, I definitely have to knock some points for that glitch that prevented people from getting the trophy that they deserved. I'm sure that the glitch has probably been fixed by the time this video goes up, but it still really pisses me off.
The first big run with predetermined egg scores for trophies and badges was certainly an interesting decision with the layout of this map. I'm certain that a majority of players were able to get a new best or even a new trophy for the first time in this big run, and I think this was partially due to the accessible layout of the map. The large area near the basket on high normal tide gave a lot of freedom to move around safely and also to lure salmonids safely to the basket. Whilst low tide was definitely the weakest aspect of this map, I think the predetermined scores really helped motivating players to hit that 45 eggs per wave, even in tougher situations.
So yeah, Barnacle Dime was fun, would play again. Unami Ruins was surprisingly great. I was really expecting this stage to be absolute ass, and considering that I really don't like Unami as a normal stage, and the fact that this big run came after Undertow, I think it's fair that I was worried. Luckily, my fears were unfounded. Unami is so good. Like, so good. What's even weirder is that it does things that I complained about in other stages. You could definitely say that the spawning locations are too close. You could say that the stage is too small. The thing is, the stage design complements these quirks, which is helped by this block in the middle of the stage. But Anarchy, didn't you say that the block on Undertow was dreadful and made the low tide variant an abomination? Why is the Unami one okay, but the Undertow one isn't? Remember what I just said. Unami's design complements the quirks. The block on the stage not only has multiple climbable walls, but it acts as a vantage point, as it takes time for the salmonids to get up on it. Meaning that if you have a shooter weapon, you can easily take care of the lesser salmonids without endangering yourself. So yes, the salmonid spawns are close to the basket, but the design of the stage makes up for it by providing an exit/vantage point via the block. And while the stage is a bit too small, it is just enough to the point where it's possible to avoid danger and maneuver around the stage. The high tide variant also has another problem that I mentioned before with the choke points. In fact, you can say that it's worse here, since there are no other spawning locations besides this one. But again, it's surprisingly done in a good way. I'm not sure if the game just reduces the number of salmonids or something, but it's actually bearable. In fact, the raised ledges once again come in clutch, just like the block in the mid-tide variant. And this is what makes Unami so good. It takes the quirks of the OG stage and utilizes them in a way that makes the stage more entertaining. The baskets are also very well placed. I especially love how the low tide variant extends the basket down here. It makes delivering eggs a lot easier. Honestly, Unami and the number one pick both exceed in using the stage's original design in a way that complements the original stage, keeping what works and removing what doesn't. The only thing I can really say against it is that it is a bit small horizontally and the low tide variant could be a little bit better. But yeah, Unami Ruins was a banger. Extra points also got to be given to the helicopter and the Crisco Doolies for making their first appearance here. This was such a good big run.
Umami is my personal top pick for big runs, mostly due to my own personal improvement with Salmon Run translating into Big Run, but also because it felt more planned out to be a Salmon Run map, especially with how many inkable wall locations there were. However, I think one of the biggest benefits of this big run was the introduction of the Griscodillies, as it became really apparent that this was a great weapon for clearing out chums and other lessers. You could easily run into what would be a certain death situation just to reach stringers, and not feel the threat of a small fry running up behind you and swiping you at the last second. At least most of the time. But the openness of Umamami really helped with this weapon as well, as there were a lot of spaces to roll to. Even if you were on high tide, you had a lot of safety even with the map.
Alright, I'm sure you've already figured it out via the process of elimination. But let's go straight into numero uno, which is... When I started making this video, I had to rewatch some of my year-old Wahoo World Big Run footage just to make sure that I wasn't misremembering how good it was. Maybe I was just blinded by nostalgia. But I was wrong. Wahoo is just as good as I remember it. There is a reason why people are still saying the Salmon should have kept it. Wahoo just gets it right. The basket is perfectly placed both on the mid variant and the high/low variant. The stage perfectly utilizes the quirks of the OG Wahoo, using ledges to its advantage. The spawning locations are all perfect. The exact Goldilocks zone thing that I was talking about earlier with Barnacle. The stage is wide and open. The maneuverability is pristine. And in a rare case, I think that the low tide variant is insanely good. Yes, you heard right, it's actually good this time. Being just challenging enough, but not too easy. Norm tide is probably my least favourite one, but it's still great. I especially like how both sides of the stage are utilised. I'm just not a big fan of this choke point over here. And the high tide variant is fantastic. So perfectly designed. Just difficult enough to be annoying, but also entertaining. The whole stage is just perfect. It feels perfect. It plays perfect. It just works. And I struggle to put into words, but it just works. And I do think that Wahoo World is the best big run stage of them all. What do you think, Cara? Do you agree?
I remember finding this stage to be mediocre when reminiscing about it, but as I watch some overfishers play this map, I can definitely see what Anaki means. The large surfaces to freely move around in, the channels for salmonids to spawn from, the basket placements, etc. It all really flows really nicely. Still, it was definitely obvious that they weren't too sure how and where to place the inkable walls on this map. As well, its greatest strength is its surface area. It suffers from a lack of height, especially around the basket on normal and high tide. But I think if this just wasn't the first big run map, the developers would have added a lot more inkable walls. But unfortunately, it just was.
Huh. You know, that's actually a good point, Cara. I really love the stage, but I can't deny that a few climbable walls would have really helped create a better experience. Especially at the mid-tide variant. A climbable wall here and here really could have helped the stage become a true great. To conclude this video, I want to bring up that it really sucks that these amazing stages are only used once and never again. Now, I'm sure that similar to Splatoon 2 Shifty Stations, the big runs will be available in private battles when the game stops receiving updates. Still, waiting for that long to play on the big run stages kinda sucks, especially since no one ever really uses private jobs for anything other than training. I would personally have it so that every few months, a few salmonids take over one of the old big run stages again. And this time, there's no trophy system or double scales, it's just for fun and nothing else. I'm doing it like this so the main newer big runs still feel special, while those who just really want to have fun with the old big run stages can just, get to have fun. Go back to their favourite stage again. Like, I don't know. I just kind of want to play on these stages again, with my mutuals. And it just feels like a waste to have these amazing big runs be a one-time thing. To truly end this video off, Big Run has legit been a blast. You see, when it comes to Salmon Run and Splatoon 2, I never really cared about overfishing or getting hazard level max or anything like that, because like I mentioned in my previous video, I had no incentive to improve. And that changed when I played the first Big Run. I noticed I only got silver and I was like to myself, am I not as good as I thought I was? So the next Big Run, I tried something harder, and I still got the silver, and the same thing happened over and over again. I never could reach that top 5%. And you know what? I'm okay with it. Because via my efforts to get the gold, I've gotten so much better at the game, and thanks to Cara for introducing me to the Salmon Run Discord, I will keep getting closer and closer to our top 5%. Will I reach it before the big runs end? Honestly, I have no idea. Until I do, I will keep improving and I will keep getting better. Any closing thoughts, Cara?
Add inkable walls into PvP, please.
I think we lost her. And I also want to say thank you to you guys. This has been a great year for the channel. Like, last year, I had 200 subscribers, and now we're nearing 600. Like, my god, bro, just thank you, all of you guys. Like, thanks for hearing my lame-ass ramblings, thanks for putting up with my awful upload schedule, just thanks for sticking around. Here's hoping next year we can hit to 750 subscribers. Hell, maybe even 1k if we're lucky. If this video goes up before Christmas, then Merry Christmas and all happy holidays. If it goes up after Christmas, then have a great new year. And with that, it's a goodbye from Cara.
Bye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Take care of yourselves.